Fox News appearances have begun. Guest spot on Riley Reigns' podcast is soon. Small TPUSA campus speaking tour next year. She will earn a low six-figure before being discarded back to Missouri, where she will work for her mom's January 6th legal practice. Start to finish 6 months. This is, of course, the Oklahoma student who wrote the most dogshit essay of all time, immediately getting a Fox News opportunity. Oh, these guys just cherish and celebrate the biggest losers, dude.
I am saddened that they're offended by the truth of the gospel and the truth that I wrote about in my assignment, and it saddens me to see that that offends them and upsets them the way it did. Jesus is always worth standing up for, and I just encourage those people that...
Bro, you can't even fail a class. As a conservative, conservatives just basically want to dominate every field. And even if they fail a class, it's because they're conservative, right? Like, even it's not because they write a dogshit essay. It was because you got fired for saying the truth. You got fired for preaching the gospel. That's what happened. Show the essay? Yeah, I'm gonna show you the essay. Even if I was a right-wing professor, I would still give her an F for not being able to write. I know, it was so bad. She wrote this essay for a psych class. And in the essay, she's just like arguing about, gender, saying that there should be no gender whatsoever, which is very woke, or saying that there's only one gender. Apologies. I need to read it to you because it's really bad. Chavo covered the essay. Yeah, but I'm not going to like go through them covering the essay. Oh, I read the essay already. It was psych. Okay. Oh, here it is. Full essay. It's 2 pages. This article is very thought-provoking and caused me to thoroughly evaluate the idea of gender and the role it plays in our society. The article discussed... Yeah, it's 2 pages. It's like a 4th grader, straight up. The article discussed peers using teasing as a way to enforce gender norms. I do not necessarily see this as a problem. God made male and female and made us differently from each other on purpose and for a purpose. God is very intentional with what he makes, and I believe trying to change the world would only do more harm. Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. The same goes for men. God created men in the image of his courage and strength, and he created women in the image of his beauty. He intentionally created women differently than men, and we should live our lives with that in mind. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Without this becoming... Why is her accent always Southern? I don't know. Maybe because she's fucking Southern. You heard her speak. What do you mean?
Are dealing with something similar to push back against that kind of behavior. I would...
She's from Missouri. Bro, what is wrong with you? This is Shakespeare. I know, this is the most goated article I've ever read in my entire life. It is frustrating to me when I read articles like this and discussion posts from my classmates of so many people trying to conform to the same mundane opinion so they do not step on people's toes. I think that is cowardly and insincere way to live. That is a cowardly and insincere way to live. It is important to use freedom of speech we have been given in this country, and I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental as it pulls us farther from God's original plan for humans. It is perfectly normal for kids to follow gender stereotypes because that is how God made us. The reason so many girls want to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way is not because they feel pressured to fit into societal norms. It is because God created and chose them to reflect his beauty and his compassion in a way. Okay, I can't even get through it. She's not even sourcing the Bible, dude. And TPUSA did a protest for her. They were like, no, you write this dog shit essay, you deserve an A. In Genesis, God says that it is not good for man to be alone. So he created a helper for a man, which is a woman. Okay, I was wrong. She did quote the Bible. Just Genesis. This is like when Trump says, hey, what's your favorite passage in the Bible? And he says, I can't choose all of them. All of them. The entire Bible. I like the Bible in its entirety. Did she cite the Bible as a source, or is it a trust me, bro? No, it's a trust me, bro. There is no citing of the Bible. So fucking stupid, but of course.
Right. Organizers tell me they put this protest together to stand up for academic integrity, calling on the university to put the grad student back in the classroom. Meantime, Turning Point USA students here on campus continue to stand with that student, Samantha Fulnecki. Two sides of the University of Oklahoma's essay controversy, clashing on the flagship campus Friday. An essay on gender using the Bible as its base was graded with a 0 by a transgender graduate instructor. The author, junior Samantha Fulnecki, says she was targeted for her religious beliefs and filed a formal complaint.
I do think that this is the most British an American woman has ever looked.
The instructor is now on leave for the investigation. The university says the 0 won't count toward her final grade. Supporters of the instructor say the grade was about guidelines, not religion.
It's not discrimination, it really is accountability. You need to do the job, you need to do the work.
We spoke with a classmate off camera who completed the same assignment.
Citing the Bible and not using a source is inherently plagiarism, so
They put the fucking they put the notes on why her essay was dog shit. Many people assume the word helper in this context to be condescending and offensive to women. However, the original word in Hebrew is ezer kenegdo, and that directly translates to helper equal to. Additionally, God described himself in the Bible as using ezer kenegdo or helper. He describes his Holy Spirit as our helper as well. This shows the importance God places on the role of the helper, women's roles. God does not view women as less significant than men. He created us with such intentionality and care. Oh my God, she just keeps repeating the same point over and over again, which is not even a point at all. It's just vibes. He made women in his image of being a helper and in the image of his beauty. If leaning into that role means I am following gender stereotypes, then I'm happy to be following a stereotype that aligns with the gifts and abilities God gave me as a woman. I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine. I strongly disagree with the idea from the article that encouraging acceptance of diverse gender expressions could improve students' confidence. Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders. There are no multiple genders. There's only one gender. That's it. No more multiple genders. One gender only. Man. I go back and forth on whether or not this was a op and she like purposely wrote this as dog shit as possible so that she could get support for being quote unquote canceled. Also, her professor is trans. So when her professor actually failed her on this, everybody went, oh, it's because she's woke. I think that I should have gotten 100. I've gotten 100 on every single essay in this class, and I write them all the same, exactly the same. The TA has never had a problem with how I write my papers in that class. Okay, maybe it's appropriate to suspend that TA if she hadn't given you zeros for identical papers. If she's not lying, which I have no reason to believe that she's being sincere here. But if she wasn't lying, then it's appropriate to suspend the teacher, not for giving this one a 0, but for not giving all the previous essays a 0 if they were written in the exact same format. Watch, protests underway at University of Oklahoma rallying in support of the instructor who was put on leave after giving a student 0 on a psychology paper. Wokeness will come back in a way no one is ready for. They got 1 year of anti-woke culture and they're seeing it as cancerous. Two pages felt like Moby Dick. Anyway, here's a statement from the University of Oklahoma. On Wednesday, a lecturer allegedly demonstrated viewpoint discrimination by excusing students who intended to miss class to attend a protest on campus, but not extending the same benefit to students who intended to miss class to express a counter viewpoint. Immediately upon learning of the situation, director of first-year composition told students in class today and by email that the lecturer's actions were inappropriate and wrong, and that the university classroom exists to teach students how to think, not what to think. The director further stated that any student, regardless of viewpoint, would be excused if absent from class today to attend the protest without penalty, and that the lecturer had been replaced effective immediately for the remainder of the semester. The University of Oklahoma unequivocally supports the decision and swift action taken by the director of first-year composition regarding this matter. Her actions are fully consistent with university policy governing prohibited classroom conduct, and the lecturer has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. Classroom instructors have a special obligation to ensure that the classroom is never used to grant preferential treatment based on personal political beliefs, nor to pressure students to adopt a particular political or ideological view. It's unfair to say it deserves a 0. It deserves at least 17 to 23%. Look at how much it legit sparked debate. What? I mean, you're memeing. I get it. But like, that's perfectly valid. There were clear criteria for grading 0. It was appropriate. Here are some of the instructor's comments. Where is the comments? Oh, please note that I'm not deducting points because you have certain beliefs, but instead I'm deducting points for you posting a reaction paper that does not answer the questions for this assignment, contradicts itself, heavily uses personal ideology over empirical evidence in a scientific class, and is at times offensive. While you are entitled to your own personal beliefs, there's an appropriate time or place to implement them in your reflections. I encourage all students to question or challenge the course material with other empirical findings or testable hypotheses, but using your own personal beliefs to argue against the findings of not only this article, but the findings of countless articles across psychology, biology, sociology, etc. is not the best practice. You argue that abiding by normative gender roles is beneficial. It is perfectly fine to believe this, but then to say that everyone should act the same while also saying that people aren't pressured into gendered expectations is contradictory, especially since your arguments reflect the religious pressure to act in gender stereotypical ways. You can say that strict gender norms don't create gender stereotypes, but that isn't true by definition of what a stereotype is. Please note that acknowledging gender stereotypes does not immediately denote a negative connotation, a nuance this article discusses. Additionally, to call an entire group of people demonic is highly offensive, especially a minoritized population. You are entitled to your own beliefs, but this isn't a vague narrative a society pushes lies, but instead the result of countless years of developing psychological and scientific evidence for these claims and directly interacting with the communities involved. Yeah, it's like, no, you didn't do anything. You didn't do any of the fucking job. Like, I made an argument similar to this one the first day that this, this became a point of controversy, where it was like, it's like having a religious person go into class on the theory of evolution and be like, evolution is fake because God told me. And if you believe in evolution, you are a phony. And then demanding an A on that paper, you know? Yeah, I was a psych TA that had to grade papers like this. These ones where they had to read an article, do a couple page essay, they were always this criteria to follow, and that's most likely why she got a legit 0, because it was that dog shit. The way she wrote the essay would be shot down by literally any professor if she talked about anything else too. She would have had to defend her opinion through solid facts. This is bare minimum to get through university. How is it being questioned? How is this being questioned? Everyone is stupid. Everyone is stupid, and it's much easier to draw up battle lines on ideological points of view than it is to think critically. Okay, that's it. Many people will not read the paper. Even less will actually see her comments and why she graded it the way that she did. And the overwhelming majority will go, oh, they fired her or they failed her because gender. They failed her because woke. Especially when they find out that the fucking TA is trans. Yeah, that's the other side of the story. It's like, if you're taking a course, you can't get away with saying like, no, gender is a rigid binary. You just can't do that because you're in college. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that television doesn't tell you that that is appropriate, or television tells you that your feelings are valid, but that shit's not valid in a fucking actual course. You can't do that. You're not a child. You're in college. You have to literally learn the source material. The irony is, she didn't even say it was a fucking binary. She said that it was singular. Gender is singular. She said there's no such thing as multiple genders. She said there's only one gender. College is more about learning critical thinking than it is about learning things in general, okay? Like, a big chunk of college is about learning how to read and how to cite sources and think critically, okay? That's the most significant training that you get when you go to college. I just hate how fucking stupid we are. What are professors supposed to do? Get every faculty member to approve giving a 0 from now on? Yeah, if you want to give a 0 to your student, they can't be a right-wing reactionary, and also you can't be trans while in the process of giving a 0 to your student. Those are the new rules now. But of course, she's now on the Riley Gaines crash course. Conservative gets dunked on appropriately, and then uses that failure to generate a career for themselves.